The first drops of sunlight filtered through the thin curtains of the small countryside home, falling softly onto Tú Diep's hands as she folded freshly washed clothes. The morning breeze carried the faint fragrance of rain-soaked rice fields, a calm, almost sacred peace, the kind that comes only after surviving many storms. At the wooden table, James sat with his coffee, steam curling gently upward, while little Nhi, bright-eyed and full of life, was busy braiding her doll's hair, her laughter ringing through the house like tiny silver bells. For months, their lives had been marked by hardship, yet filled with quiet joy. James still worked tirelessly day and night, rebuilding the small business he had lost, while Diep had recently begun her new job at a local shop. The pay was modest, but for her, it symbolized hope, a small but firm step toward sharing the burden that James had carried alone for so long. That morning, Diep received her very first salary. The envelope felt light in her hands, yet heavy with pride. She had earned this, not just through effort, but through courage. Without a word, she tucked the envelope into her bag and made her way to the town market. The air was alive with the hum of daily life, vendors calling prices, the aroma of grilled corn, freshly brewed coffee, and chatter weaving together like music. Diep stopped before a small stall that sold warm clothes. Her eyes lingered on a gray woolen scarf, soft, simple, familiar. It reminded her of James. "He always forgets his coat," she murmured with a fond smile. Then, her gaze drifted to a tiny pink jacket, fluffy and adorable, with two small bare ears on the hood, perfect for little Nhi. She could already picture the child's eyes lighting up with joy. When Diep returned home, James was repairing a broken chair, his hands rough and calloused from long days of work. Nhi ran to her, clinging to her legs, her voice bubbling with curiosity. "Mommy, what did you buy?" Diep knelt down, wrapping the scarf around James's neck before handing the small jacket to Nhi. "Just something small," she said softly. "To keep my family warm." For a moment, James was speechless. Then, through the exhaustion, a quiet smile bloomed, a smile full of gratitude and love. In that instant, their little house seemed to glow with warmth, richer than any fire. Outside, the old clock struck noon, marking not just time, but a new beginning, one built on tenderness, shared effort, and love that needed no grand gestures to be felt. It was late afternoon when the creak of the gate broke the calm. James looked up from the garden, startled to see Nhi's grandmother standing there, her posture straight, her face calm but distant, an umbrella in her hand though the sky was perfectly clear. For a moment, none of them spoke. The past, the court days, the tears, the painful accusations, hung heavy between them. Mother, James said quietly, wiping his hands, his voice steady yet hesitant. Deep appeared behind him, holding Nye's small hand. Grandma, the child cried, running forward in pure joy. The old woman's stern expression melted as she bent down to embrace her. You've grown, my dear, she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from Nye's forehead. I've missed you. Inside, Deep poured tea while James gently set the umbrella aside to dry. The house was simple but warm, the faint aroma of lunch lingering in the air. On the wall hung a hand-drawn picture of the three of them, crayon strokes full of love. The grandmother's gaze lingered on it. I came today, she said finally, her voice trembling, not to argue. I wanted to see if what I heard was true, that you've built a real home together, that my granddaughter is happy here. Deep lowered her eyes. We've made mistakes, she said softly. But all we've ever wanted is for NHI to be surrounded by love, from both sides. The old woman studied Deep for a long moment, then turned to James, his once proud face now marked by humility and devotion. She watched the way he reached for Nye's hand, and how Deep leaned ever so slightly toward him, as if she had found her safe harbor. When NHI climbed into her lap, proudly showing the new pink jacket, the grandmother's eyes glistened. She looks happy, she whispered. That's all that matters. The sun dipped lower, painting the room in gold. Love doesn't need to be spoken loudly, the grandmother said at last. I can see it here. Her tone was gentle, resolute. Before she left, she paused at the doorway. Take care of each other. You've earned this peace, and just like that, with one simple sentence, years of pain began to fade, replaced by forgiveness that filled the home like light after a storm. Days later, the grandmother returned again. Deep froze when she saw her at the gate, clutching a small cloth bag. Good morning, child, the old woman said softly. Deep quickly stepped aside. Please, come in, grandmother. The home was humble but tidy, fresh flowers in a chipped vase, wooden furniture polished to a warm glow, and the faint scent of soy milk and fried eggs drifting from the kitchen. James emerged, surprised but respectful. Mother, he greeted, bowing slightly. Silence lingered, thick with memory, until NHI burst in, breaking it like sunlight through rain. Grandma, she squealed, throwing herself into the woman's arms. The grandmother's eyes softened. My dear girl, she murmured. You've grown so much. They sat together over lotus tea that Deep and NHI had picked from the nearby lake. You take good care of her, the grandmother said quietly. I've been watching from afar, how she smiles, how she skips to school. I see the love here, even without words. James bowed his head. Mother, NHI means everything to us. We may not have much, but she will always have love and safety. Tears glimmered in the grandmother's eyes. I see that now, she said. For years, I thought love meant blood or family names. But maybe love is simply about who shows up, who stays. Then she smiled, a rare, genuine smile that softened her lined face. I didn't come to take her away, she said. I came to let her stay. Deep gasped, covering her mouth. James's eyes widened in disbelief. She belongs here, with you, the grandmother continued. She's happy. That's all that matters. Tears rolled down Deep's cheeks as the old woman reached for her hand. You've done what even I could not, the grandmother said. You gave that child a family again. At that moment, NHI climbed onto her grandmother's lap, proudly showing a small paper heart. Grandma, look. Mommy Deep helped me cut it. The old woman kissed her forehead. It's beautiful, my dear, just like you. Laughter filled the room, soft, real, healing. When evening came, James walked the grandmother to the gate. She turned to him. Take care of them both. You've been given a second chance. Don't waste it. I won't, Mother, he promised. When she disappeared down the dirt path, Deep leaned against James's shoulder. Did that really happen? He smiled, brushing a tear from her cheek. Yes, he whispered. She finally believes in us. The following week, the grandmother returned, this time carrying a basket of vegetables, rice cakes, and homemade pickles. I thought I'd come back to help with dinner, she said warmly. Deep hurried to help her. You didn't have to bring anything. Nonsense, the old woman laughed. It's been too long since I've cooked with family. Soon, the kitchen came alive, the rhythmic chopping of vegetables, the gentle bubbling of soup, laughter mixing with the sizzle of oil. Three generations stood side by side, the grandmother slicing, James washing rice, Deep kneading dough, and NHI, perched on a stool, stirring the soup with solemn concentration. Be careful, my dear, the grandmother said gently. Don't let it boil over. Yes, Grandma. NHI chirped, beaming. The dishes were simple: steamed vegetables, tofu in tomato sauce, fragrant rice grown by Deep's own hands, but to them, it felt like a royal banquet. I used to think love was measured by money, the grandmother admitted quietly, but now I see, it's measured by care. Deep smiled softly. We don't have much, grandmother. But we have each other. That's enough. That's more than enough, my dear, she replied, her eyes glistening. as NHI fed her grandmother a spoonful of rice. "Eat, Grandma. This is Mommy Deep's cooking." The room filled with laughter, rich and warm. Outside, night settled over the quiet countryside, and stars shimmered above. Inside, a small family, bound not by blood but by love, shared a meal that marked the beginning of something whole, something enduring. Weeks later, when Deep received her first salary from the small agricultural business she and James had started together, she smiled with quiet pride. She bought 2 small gifts, a wool scarf for James, a pink jacket for NHI. That evening, under the soft glow of a single lamp, she presented them. "My first salary," she said. "And my first gift for our family." James unwrapped the scarf, his voice trembling. "You shouldn't have." "I wanted to," she replied. "To keep you warm." NHI squealed with delight as she unwrapped her pink jacket. "It's pink, Mommy Deep. My favorite." James stood there, watching his wife and child, his heart swelling with love. Pulling them both close, he whispered, This is what real success feels like." Outside, the night wind whispered softly against the window, but inside, warmth filled every corner of their home, not from luxury or wealth, but from love, resilience, and the quiet joy of a family that had finally found its way home.